Alright guys, welcome back to another fanfiction idea, and this is another three-way crossover that was voted on by my backers on Patreon. As always, if you guys would like to be part of the Patreon group and join at least the polls, just hit the link below, head on over to my Patreon. You guys can hit the first tier, and yeah, that allows you to interact with polls, as well as check out movie reviews whenever I go to the movies and see what's out there. I haven't done that in a while. Hopefully I'll change that soon. Anyway, so this was one I was surprised won by a convincing margin. So this, as you can see, Wolverine, Re-Animator, and Baccano. We got comics, movie, and anime all together in one, and this won 50% of the vote, just trouncing the other competition. Like I said, 50% of the vote. It got half of the. It won convincingly. Let's say that. Anyway, so. Let's get started with this crossover. So this three-way crossover actually begins back in the 30s with the Gandor family of Baccano. The Gandor family has recently become immortal thanks to Isaac and Miriam completely messing with the Grand Palaceum elixir, making everyone immortal, and they've apparently run into one of their bars has a bit of a problem. There's a drunkard there who is getting a little violent with their crew. So when they go in there to bother him, it turns out it's a Canadian who was a rum runner for Canadian whiskey. This is during the Prohibition era, so Canadian whiskey was kind of a big thing. And this rum runner got into a bit of the hooch and essentially has now gotten a little violent. The guy's name, Logan. And Logan has basically gotten so drunk, and now he's getting violent until Ennis tries to step in and fight him, and that's when Logan pops his claws and swipes at them. This is also where they're like, this ain't... Because they tried shooting him, and he just got back up and healed, and they're like, is he immortal like everyone else? And then he popped his bone claws, and then it's like, holy shit, this ain't no immortal. He's something else. It ain't right. So, from there, Wolverine drunkenly gets tossed out of the bar, and, yeah, so Firo and the others are all like, well, that was weird. I hope we never run into that guy again. Let's just get back, whoever that guy was, I just hope we never run into him again. So Firo and the others, they all go back, have some drinks, and throughout the decades, the Gandor family expands their criminal power throughout New York and further out into the U.S. because they're immortal. However, they are getting the attention of someone they don't want to get the attention of. That person is Herbert West. West has kept tabs on them for about a few years. After hearing rumors about the Gandor family and their secret immortality, West, who is curious about who is fascinated by the idea of their immortality and the possibility of it, because he's trying to understand the secrets of life and what they hold. So what he does is that he actually kidnaps Ennis. He kidnaps Ennis after drugging her and brings her to experiment on it, and that's when he realizes, he's like, you're not human, you're something else. I have to learn more about you and more about the Gandor family. He kidnaps Firo, he kidnaps Miza and others, and he starts to extract their blood. He starts to harness their blood, and he's trying to figure out what makes them tick. But it's not just that. It's also discovered that the new elixir that West is trying to harness, the new elixir that he's trying to extrapolate, is essentially a new form for his reagent. His reagent, he's discovered after escaping from the prison. Yes, I am tying this into Beyond Re-Animator. He discovered that the ingredients for his reagent are diluting and dying out, so he needs elements for a new reagent. He's also, and with a world of marvels that he lives in, of super beings and some of them being immortal, he thought he could harness the blood from someone. He also learned about the Grand Palaceum, which but he doesn't know how to make it. So he's kind of hoping that maybe he can extrapolate elements of the Grand Palaceum from the Immortal's blood in the Gandor family. And not only that, he's also gone out of his way to kidnap Chez, who has also been taken in by the Gandor family and has done horrible experiments on him, because he's like, I'm kind of at peace with butchering a child, especially when I know it's immortal. So, and Chez, however, is like, there's literally nothing you could do to me that could hurt. However, during all this, Ennis does manage to break out and escape, and in doing so, she managed to take off back, and hopefully she can get the rest of the family to, to kill this guy. Come back with a whole lot of guns and murder this guy. But as she's running through his Herbert West's lab, she discovers that one of his captives is a young girl named Laura, and Laura says, "Go find. I have someone out there who is going to murder him. Is going to kill this guy," and that someone, of course, is Logan. Now, Logan has been looking for Laura for several weeks. She was one of the first to get kidnapped, but West hid his trail pretty well. So now he's now in New York, because that's her last place he found her. It isn't until a little later that Ennis manages to find Logan and is like, "Listen, I need your help." But Wolverine's like, "I remember you. You guys attacked me when and he also smells Laura on her," and he's like, snicked. So Laura and Ennis Logan and Ennis get into another fight until Ennis more or less tells him, "You fucking idiot! Someone else has them and my family. You have to help them. You have to help me spring them. You have to get me. You and I have to get them out of there." And he's like, "All right." Pops his claws back in. He's like, "What do you propose exactly?" So Ennis explains that, like, if we're gonna break in there, we need help, and I know just the people to get them, and that's Isaac and Miriam. You didn't think they were gonna show up, huh? So Isaac, Miriam, Ennis, and Logan all team up, and Ennis leads the group to his secret lab, which is in Staten Island, because everything rotten comes out of Staten Island. Admit it. And what happens is that Wolverine and the others all find their way back to his lab, but they do find that it is guarded by... It's actually under the protection of some of West's, shall we say, lesser experiments. So the four of them have to fight their way through like a zombie horde, and just as they're fighting their way through this whole like mess of undead, Logan is just slashing his way through all of them until eventually they do manage to find the others, and that's when West is like, "Oh shit." So West has to book it out of there, but not before Wolverine and Ennis do some damage on West. Wolverine actually cuts off one of his arms, while Ennis shoots him twice in the stomach, and he falls out of a window. He does survive, because we all know a good horror character doesn't die that easily. So, and everyone is broken out, and Logan is offered a place in the Gandor family, even though they're like, "You did get a little older, so and I guess it was right. You weren't immortal." He's like, "I am, but I'm also a mutant." So everyone parts ways after that. So there you go, guys. That is the three-way crossover. Once again, I'd like to thank everyone who was a part of this for the voting on the poll on Patreon. And like I said earlier, if you guys would like to be part of the polls and whatever, just hit the link below. Head on over to my Patreon, where you guys can hit the first tier. That'll let you interact with polls. That'll be part of these videos here on YouTube and here on Patreon as well. But other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.